Happy Halloween, everybody. Happy Halloween. Welcome to the Keys to Victory for Miami versus Duke this weekend. So it is another big game. 8-0 Miami versus 6-2 Duke. Um, hmm, it's a very interesting game. Manny Diaz, of course, coming back to Hard Rock after unsuccessful stint as a coach, but a very successful stint as the Penn State defensive coordinator. So much so that Penn State has won 22 games over the last 2 years as a defensive coordinator, and then was able to earn his way back into a Power Five job. And I think that he's done a very good job. Duke's defense is probably going to be the best all around defense we have played. I think, even better than what Florida State's defense was. I think there's been a theme running towards these previews that I've had during our last few weeks is that each game gets harder, each game gets more important. I know that the ESPN FPI predictor has it at 91%. I think it's a bit high. I also think that the line is a bit high on this game, 21 points. I think that Duke's defense is a lot better than that. I think that the talent level that Miami has is a bit higher for Miami, and Miami should dominate this game, but that doesn't mean that you will. I think that Manny Diaz will have Duke running, revving, and ready for this game. I really do. I do think that they're going to put forward a lot. Put forward their best foot, especially after losing last week in very heartbreaking fashion. They forced 6 turnovers of a very good SMU team, a team that's also coached by a former coach and Rhett Lashley. So I think that he's kind of doing his refresher tour, basically. Manny Diaz is. So we're gonna see how this works out. So noon on Saturday, big game. It's going up against, of course, Penn State versus Ohio State. So it may not be the bigger numbers as we've, but Miami attracts them. So we're gonna have to see. So for me, the first key was going to be what I've talked about in all these previews: line of scrimmage. Miami's going to have to dominate the line of scrimmage from an offensive line standpoint and defensive line standpoint. It's going to have to run the ball well, because one, Duke does not stop the run very well. They allow about 5 yards per carry at about 160 yards a game. After what Miami's been doing the last couple of weeks, Miami should feast on that. They need to feast on that. They need to set it up. The way I think Miami was able to win against Florida State is that they dominated the line of scrimmage. Same thing against Louisville. These last 2 games, people have kind of critiqued and done what they can when it comes to what Miami has done. But I think Miami's best 2 games played of the season, besides, of course, the Florida game, I think have been the Louisville and the Florida State game when it came to it, because Miami controlled the line of scrimmage and really wasn't really in any danger of losing either of these games, even when that crazy moment when it got to 31-31 with Louisville. But because Miami was able to dominate the line of scrimmage, dominate time of possession, Miami was able to stay in control. Miami always stayed in control in both these games. So if Miami wants to do that, let's keep that going. Stay in control and with at both lines of scrimmage, and that also means defensive line. We got to do a much better job bringing down the quarterback. I think that Miami was able to generate a lot of pressure against Florida State, but they just weren't able to finish. Glenn and Luke K. Let's call him Luke K because I'm going to butcher his last name for Florida State. They're able to sidestep out of a lot of tackles and make positive yards. Basically, the only thing that Florida State had going for it was the quarterback run. That's all. That's literally all their yards came from. Miami stopped the running backs. Miami stopped the passing game. Now they also got lucky. There were a few breaks in coverage where Luke K didn't see a couple of streaking people for open touchdowns on 4th and 1 and stuff like that. But we'll get to that. So that brings me really to the second point. You have to limit the big plays again. Miami hasn't played disciplined on defense, even if it can't play better than it has. It has to play disciplined. So there's still a lot of missed tackles, still a lot of missed assignments. There are a lot of things that could have gone wrong that luckily for us did not go wrong against Florida State, because Florida State is just not that talented of a team right now. There's really just no sugarcoating it. Miami, Florida State has a lot of talented players. They're just not together as a team, and you could see that. There were a lot of things that were busted. Miami really, in the grand scheme of things, probably should not have gave up any points to Florida State, but they did a couple fluke things that they just weren't disciplined on, and and you have to do that against a quarterback like Malik Murphy. He's mobile. He has a good talent set. I know that Florida State held him to 80 yards passing, but he really played really well against SMU, so he's going to be a little bit hotter. So I think he's going to be looking to do that again against Miami, and Miami has got to be disciplined. So, and there are a lot of good things that Miami has going for on the defensive line. O.J. Frederick has been amazing. Daryl Porter apparently still has not allowed a touchdown pass, but there's still a couple things that are going on there. Look, the fact of the matter is, Miami has got to be sure when it comes to it. And tackling has been a big issue these last since the ACC play has happened. And even in the South Florida game, there was a lot of tackling issues, but they were able to kind of rebound from that and be better in that game. I seen like there was a lot of good things that happened in the Florida State game, but also a lack of talent. I think really kind of helped them to put forward. But when you're critiquing a game where you give up less than 250 yards and you want to sound like you're nitpicking, but the fact of the matter is Miami should have been better, and so Miami has got to keep improving on defense, especially during this last quarter of the season because Miami is no matter what anyone wants to tell y'all, Miami is a national title contender, and it's good to say that when you enter November 8-0 in a Power Four conference at the top 5 ranking, yeah, you're a national title contender. So how are you going to finish it? So that's really what it comes down to. That what comes down to the third key. How are you going to finish this game? So Miami has to start faster, in my opinion. Take control from the beginning. Make Duke try to come back on you. If you can get the first 3 and out, get the first touchdown, and then go up 14-0 like they were able to do against Florida State. Have Duke keep coming back on you, and how to take the lead against Louisville the way they did that. Have them keep them coming back on you. Then you control the game. That's what Miami has to do. I think Cam is suited to do that. Duke is going to blitz a lot, I think, because I think they saw that Florida State was able to have some success with that. But there's things like the fact of the matter is Cam Ward versus the blitz season has second in completions, second in pass yards, and first in touchdowns. So blitz him at his own youth. But also I think that what he did against Florida State that was very good is that he didn't try to make any hero plays. He didn't try to win the game in one play. He took what the defense gave him. Now, I think he has to be much better at his first looks. I think he needs to look for Xavier Strepo, open off the line, Isaiah Harden, open off the line, Jacoby George as well. I think that he'll do that a little bit better this game because I think he's going to take what he's doing because I love what he's been saying this week. He loved the Heisman campaign. If y'all haven't seen it, y'all should check it out. It's amazing. The Heisman campaign that was made for him. But the thing is, he said his goal is not the Heisman. His goal is to play for a national championship and goal is to win. So if your goal is to win, you got to make sure you take what the defense gives you. So I have been really impressed with his play and his leadership this season. There are some things yes, I was disappointed in some things that happened during the Florida State game while I was watching. I think there were some things that he could have taken that he didn't. But watching it second, I think that he had a good game. It was probably his worst game, but I will take that. I'll take a plus 200-yard game and another receiving touchdown and a win. I'll always take that as a UM fan because the fact that matters, we just haven't had a lot of those over the last 20 years. So, all right, going into it, like I said, control the line of scrimmage. Limit the big plays on defense and make sure we're playing with the lead, make sure we're dominating from the beginning, and make sure we're taking what the defense gives us. So if we do that, Miami should win very comfortably, probably about 2 scores. So hopefully y'all watch the game. Go Canes, go Fins, go Heat, go Panthers. We love y'all. Hopefully we'll see y'all soon. Off 199th, out.